Okay, welcome everyone. Looking forward to Thursday night. Uh, this sets up to be a pretty good game for us. Excited about getting back out there and playing. I don't think, it's everybody's asking me, and you're probably getting the first question people ask or whatever, but, has the time been good or whatever it is? I mean, this was a planned bye week, so we can't sit there and practice them 20 hours a day. We get 20 hours a week. But with that said, had a couple of good days last week, had a couple of recruiting days that were pretty necessary. First time we've been able to get out and go see guys, which was good for our staff. And then it's a short week, so we got back to work and practice. So it was good to have a couple of days extra, but based on recruiting and based on a short week, it didn't get a whole lot more done than just an ordinary game week. But like Thursday night game, this will be fun. There's been a lot of them around here. Clearly, we understand that, and a lot of eyes will be on us and see how we respond from what happened up at Iowa State. So I'm looking forward to seeing this as well. I think our guys are determined. I think their practices has been sharp. They're a very determined team, like I said last week, and it showed out there in practice. So I think we'll be ready to put our best foot forward. Baylor's a good football team. Now they've Coach Rule's done a good job. You can see a lot of the resemblances in what he accomplished at Temple. When I saw Coach Rule over here in Philly, coaching Temple, they were tough and they were physical and they played good defense and they played hard, and that's what I see. That's what I see Baylor turning into at this point. So offensively, their quarterback's playing good. We saw Brewer up close and personal last year. Good football player. Came from a great high school in Texas. Was coached the right way. Played a lot of ball, and is a good football player. We're seeing a lot of these younger type quarterbacks, which is I've seen that in the Big 12 forever and ever. You lose some good ones. That doesn't mean that there isn't any good ones left. It means that just nobody knows who they are yet. So he's kind of one of those guys that's a Texas high school guy that has played a lot of ball and is a gritty, smart, tough, hard-nosed football player. They do a lot of different things with them. They'll run them. He'll get out of the pocket and scramble. He'll do some quarterback run game. Is a really good football player. Got a bunch of different backs that they go to. They're going to keep rotating them in there, much like we do. The two receivers are really three of them are really impressive to me. But the Mims kid is a difference maker. We saw him last year take one on us. Seen him for the last couple of years, and then all the talk about the Hurd kid from Tennessee is legit. He's turned into a legit receiver. Never knew how that transition was gonna work. But it looks like he's leaned up a lot. He's a tall, lean kid that plays hard, likes to play, plays with effort, but is adjusting to receiver life. Looks pretty well to me. So those guys are going to be a handful for us. And then their O-line has. But I see a lot of the same names I've been looking at for the last several years. They got a bunch of experience up front. They run a lot of plays. The tempo you a lot. They'll throw it all over. They'll go 4 or 5 wide, and then you turn around, they'll be in 3 tight end sets, and they'll try to pound you a little bit. So they're very multiple with what they do offensively, and it all starts with the quarterback and how he runs things, which is pretty good. Defensively, they play a lot of different guys. They're very multiple defensively with what they do as well. There's the stats. I don't think is an indication of what they are defensively. They're giving up some points. They're giving up some yards. With that said, I see a bunch of improvement. They play hard. They're very sound, although they do a whole bunch of different stuff. I mean, they're a 4-down front that the blink of an eye is going to be a 3-down front. Whether that's just moving a linebacker, a defensive end back. They got a couple of undersized DNs that they move around as linebackers, or just putting their nickel package and dime package in there. So they're very multiple with what they do. They'll play a lot of man. They'll play a lot of quarters. quarters turns into man a lot of the times, but then they'll blitz the heck out of you too now. I mean, they're getting a lot of odd front stuff and blitz you, and based on what the success that Iowa State had against us in that situation, then we better be ready for that as well. But they do play with a bunch of effort, and they're very sound with what they do. Play a lot of guys, but very physical up front. They've played upwards of about 6 corners. A lot of different guys at safety, that they've had, had a couple of injuries back in there, but we'll expect all those guys as well. So physical linebackers that fill gaps and turn into defensive linemen at times as well. So I think some of those stats were cute. Oklahoma got it up on them in the second half. You look at that game, it was like, it was close in the third quarter, and then OU hit 3 or 4 real big plays. Got some more points on them late, so a lot of those stats are skewed because of what they did in the fourth quarter. But nonetheless, they played them tough now for about 2.5 quarters, and then they played Texas tough for 4 quarters. So understand what we're getting. Special teams wise, guys that I've seen there too. The punter Gallitz is probably the best punter that we've seen all year. I mean, he gets it off quick and he gets it downfield. He's their kickoff guy as well, which he's putting about 80% of them into the end zone. And then their kicker, Connor Martin, is got a long leg, and he's hit a 50-yarder and is pretty solid as well. From a return aspect, your guess is as good as mine. They've had upwards of about 10 returners, whether they're punt returners, whether they're kick returners. They've played a whole bunch of different people, and I think they're kind of searching as far as who's going to be their guys there. But overall, this team plays hard, and they're physical, and they're getting better, and it's a huge challenge for us, one that we're looking forward to. We need to finish up practice here this afternoon. Actually, tonight. We got to go a little later today because of class, because of the short week and all that, and then just get to Thursday night and get out there and look forward to playing. I think we'll have a great crowd. Weather's going to be great, football weather, and there's really nothing that we're not looking forward to. Take some questions.
In the open week, just the rest and rehab, you feel that was utilized as well as could be?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's you got to recruit, all right, and you want your guys to get away from it for a little bit, but we're in a short week as well, so. We got back to work and practiced hard on Tuesday and Wednesday. Gave them a few days off. Went out on the road recruiting, which was really, this is really about the only time that we can do that. Told the guys to get away from it for a few days. They did. They came back ready to go yesterday. So I had a good practice yesterday. I expect another one tonight, and then we need to go play. Is it good to have a bye week? On the heels of a win or on the heels of a loss, I don't know. This one's just been on the schedule for quite some time, so we knew how we were going to approach it. Do think we got a few things figured out in the pass game, and clearly if you don't play, you're going to be able to heal up a little bit. So I think some of the guys that didn't play, I would expect to see out there, which is good at this point of the year too.
Thursday night games, what do you like the most about them, and what are the biggest challenges of weeks like this?
They're really, it's a schedule changer, so that can be either good or bad. There's been enough of them around here to where we understand how to do it and all that. So, the good is a lot of eyes on you. It's good for recruiting. I remember back in we didn't really have a lot of Thursday night games in the Big 12 prior to here recently. But I would remember Big East did. I would remember after our Thursday night practices when I was at Tech all those years, about 10 years ago or whatever, that, it seemed like West Virginia and Rutgers was playing every Thursday night, or West Virginia and South Florida was playing every Thursday night. And now the Big 12's kind of taken some of those games as well. But there's just a lot of eyes on you. Short weeks. Thursday night games are tough if you play on Saturday. If you only have 5 days, that's tough now. That's the NFL gripes about it all the time, and they're one time that they got to do it a year or whatever. But It's manageable, but it's not ideal. You know, and I think, you know, later in the year, if you can, you know, if you got momentum or you need to get back out there and play like we do, you know, you can deal with the Thursday after a bye week because it comes pretty quick.
When you study these guys, do you see any remnants of what Art Riles did, or are they transitioning to the stuff that he did at Temple and his style now? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I didn't study what he did at Temple. I just remembered, you know, they're good defense and played hard and physical and hard-nosed, you know, his old Penn State background or whatever. But I don't resemble any. I think they'd probably be offended if you said that. But it was obviously a complete overhaul. You know, there's plenty of that style of offense out there. But it's not happening at Baylor like that. I mean, they're very multiple with what they do. I mean, you can, you know, they'll do a lot of drop back stuff. They'll open it up, do a lot of 10 personnel, throw the ball around a good bit, do some quarterback run game, put 3-4 tight ends in the game and try to slow things down too. So they're pretty multiple with what they do on both sides. Nothing like it was though, that's for sure. Defensively, there's some, you know, just with what Phil Bennett was when he was there, but there's no connections whatsoever. But, you know, he was a 4-down quarters guy, and, you know, that's their base is 4 down and quarters, although they've become much more multiple with it with 3 down fronts and different blitzes. And, I mean, they're even doing that four levels thing where they back up linebackers and put them behind the linebackers and stuff. So you're going to keep seeing more and more of that.
After a game like the last one, when you're moving forward, you take lessons out of every game. So, was there any major lessons come out of the out-of-state game?
I don't want to really go back and discuss it, honestly, but, I mean, just the blocking and tackling aspect of it. When you get right down to it, this game's about blocking people and tackling people. And you got to have a proper mindset and hopefully want to be in a better mindset. That's my job, to get them into that mindset. Better mindset this Thursday than it was the previous Saturday. I do know that we'll be a little more comfortable with our surroundings, which makes a big difference. I mean, you see it every week in college football. You know, it happened to the Buckeyes on Saturday night too. I mean, it happens in college football, and you got to be ready to go every single week, no matter who you play. Period. You know, and I don't want to take anything away from Iowa State because they played a great game, and their mindset was better than ours. Did a better job of getting them ready to go than I did. But nonetheless, it comes right down to mindset and blocking and tackling. If you're in the proper mindset, you're going to block better and you're going to tackle better. And that's what we got to do Thursday.
Danny, when you get to the second half of the season, do you see much new? I mean, you know, obviously game plan each week, but is it a lot of stuff you've already seen? Yeah,
you get to a point where you kind of are what you are. I mean, you settle into what your personnel does good and what your offense does good. You go into a bye week. You ain't changing a whole lot. You can fix a few things, but you're not going to change a whole lot. So, you know, you got lots of material. They got 7 games under their belt. We got 6 games under our belt. It just seems to me like we haven't played a whole lot of football yet. It's because of the missed game and our snaps are down. You know, shoot, I think we're averaging like 65 snaps a game or something like that. So our snaps are down, our games are down. Just seems like we got a lot of ball. Haven't played as much as we're going to play moving forward, which I think is a good thing because I think we're relatively fresh and healthy and ready to go. This is obviously, you know, Thursday night, and then we'll have a couple extra days to get ready for Texas, and then we'll have a hard November as we understand, but I think we're going to be ready for that as well.
I want to make sure I heard you right. I think you said that you've got the passing game figured out, or you've got to get the passing game figured out.
I don't have anything figured out. I can assure you that.
Figured out.
No, we got to fix a few things. Yeah. I thought our timing was a little off last week, which was weird. And I did go back, and me and Jake sat and watched previous games, and our timing wasn't messed up in those. I mean, we made a couple of bad decisions on the goal line, but our timing wasn't off. Why was it off at Iowa State? I've got some theories on it, but I don't think it'd be a hard fix. But we had to go out there and we've done this 3 times, and today we'll do it again, where we just go out there and practice hard and work on our timing. It's running routes and throwing balls, and getting a couple of guys fresher and ready to go, and I think we accomplished that. I don't have anything figured out, but we did work hard on it, and I think we're in a little better spot than we were that previous Saturday night.
You said your snaps are down this year to around 65 per game. Why is that? Is it just because of the teams you've played, especially teams like Youngstown, Tennessee, and Kansas State, where they play slightly numbers?
It probably had a little to do with that. The number of possessions we had earlier in the year was down. Even Iowa State, I mean, we had the ball, 3 times in the second half or whatever. They controlled the clock, which is good coaching. But it has something to do with the amount of possessions. It has something to do with, just being explosive and, not running a lot of plays. I mean, we're averaging more yards per play this year than we did last year. That's a positive. Just not snapping it as much. I think Will at times gets to where he just wants to be perfect so much. He sits there and he studies the defense and tries to get us in the best play, which that's part of his job, but he needs to not worry about that as much at times and just play ball, So we're holding the count probably a little bit longer as well. None of which is worrisome to me at all. I mean, none of that matters. We're going to snap the ball a lot here in the next month and a half.
How do you walk the line in practice when blocking, tackling, or specific things with not pushing him too much, but getting a little more physical?
Yeah, you got it. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. I mean, to me, it's more of a mindset than it is anything. I'm convinced of that. I mean, you're going to get to a point where you really can't. I mean, we're not going to put full pads on and go tackle people. Now, you can go block people, and you need to do a good job of moving your feet and staying on blocks. I mean, that's or defensively getting off blocks, which we didn't do a very good job of that. We're stuck on blocks all day long. But it's more of a mindset at this point of the year. You can't go scrimmage. We couldn't hold it. I guess I could have, but that wouldn't have went over very well. You're not doing a lot of that this time of the year. They limit how much you can tackle anyway. So to me, we know how to tackle. Our guys have been tackling pretty good all year long. So it's just about the mindset. And that's why I said that I've got to do a better job of getting their mindset right.
Dan, at this point in the year with the redshirt rule, everybody who's sort of you decide to redshirt is going to redshirt. Even if you play them in a game or two, you try to hold the redshirt available.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Hardy, he's a starter, so that just ain't going to happen. But, Sam James has played in a couple of games, and he hadn't played enough to where it warrants playing more. It's not fair to him, So there's a couple of them. Mike Brown will probably get some snaps here moving forward, and Bryce Wheaton's really starting to come along a little bit, so he may, based on health. I mean, guys need to stay healthy. If they don't, then somebody's got to get those snaps. So Quantel Raines is another guy that's been repping a lot, but hadn't taken a snap. You can see him out there a little bit. But, we're getting to where there's 5 games left, and guys that haven't played probably ain't going to make a whole lot of sense to play them, in 5 or 6 games as opposed to just playing them in 4. So we constantly look at that and talk about it every week. And, I give guys green lights for coaches to go ahead and use them, or I don't give them green lights. And if there's injury issues on Saturday, then I'll make that decision in game.
Dan, it sounds like you're excited or interested to see the response from your guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
How have you felt,
I think everybody is.
Not necessarily between games, but within games, because I just feel like some of the things you said after games, you kind of thought they could have put teams away, created more distance, sustained from one half to the next, one quarter to the next. Good with that, or does that give you any inspiration or concern?
Yeah, I mean, most every Big 12 game that we play in is going to be a 4-quarter game. I wasn't real happy with how we played the 4 quarters against Tech. Obviously, the first half, second half thing. You know, Kansas, I think we could have probably put them away a little bit better. Kansas State, you could argue, probably had a little better fourth quarter, whatever it is. I mean, that's just coaching and nitpicking on things when you win, you know. So I'm anxious to see how we respond. I think I know how we'll respond. We're going to get out there and we're going to play our ass off. You know, hopefully we do that for 4 quarters and we continue to develop into a better football team.